It's our pleasure to welcome now Senator Andy Berry. He serves District 35. That includes Copiah, Jefferson Davis, Lawrence, and Simpson counties. Senator Berry, thanks for coming in, sir.
Well, I appreciate it. Good morning. It's an honor to be here, and I want to echo everyone else's sentiments on my condolences for the passing of Mr. Gallo. I was talking to Gary out in the green room about in a previous life when I was a farmer and worked construction that I can remember vividly buying a battery operated little radio with the pull out antenna and hang it in a tractor or a track hoe that I was running, and so I could listen to SuperTalk probably I don't know 03, 04, sometime in that time frame, and his voice and the voice of this station has really kept the working class of Mississippi informed of what's going on. And just appreciate all that y'all have done and that he did through his career to help just have the issues discussed.
Well, thank you very much for those kind words, especially about Mr. Gallo. And there's no doubt, and he took that as a responsibility. I mean, he felt like it was truly his mission, his responsibility, as we said, to inform the people of Mississippi and keep them abreast of the important issues, so that they can make decisions about their lives and candidates and just understand what's going on and making sure people were informed. You guys do a lot of work down there in the Capitol, and of course in today's world, a lot that goes on. In today's world, we have these online tools that are really good about tracking everything that goes on, but you got to take time to sit down and sift through all of that and parse it. And that's what Paul did so good. He would do that, and then he would share
particularly in those early years where the internet wasn't so readily available to see that, and the hearings weren't online, the sessions weren't online. That you weren't able to keep up. You were just you were dependent upon at that time the radio really to keep you up to date of what was going on. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, got it. All right, so I could a little bit there. Move your mic. Yeah,
okay.
There you go.
There you go. Sorry.
Is that good, Rhino? Yeah, good. Thank you.
Right.
So, no problem. So, you guys have been in session now. Are we in week 3? I can't even keep up with it.
I have lost count.
Is it week 3, Rhino? I think it is.
Week 3 or 37. It's all about the same right now.
Lots of bills have been filed.
There are.
And on both sides. And you guys are busy. I think the big one that's getting a lot of attention, you're well aware, in the House is a bill that would phase out the income taxes in the state of Mississippi. That has passed the House, been sent over to the Senate. We have been advised by Senate leadership. Senator Briggs Hobson was on with Richard Cross, I think it was yesterday or day before, but he informed that the Senate's working on their version of that. Are you involved in any of those efforts? Have you been informed of what to expect?
Not in the high level. Lieutenant Governor Hoseman named a fiscal policy study committee back last summer. Yeah, and I was fortunate enough to be a part of that. And so it was not only looking at the taxation part, but also core function of government, responsibilities of what we have to do and pay for from a government. So if you cut taxes, you're going to have to cut something else. You've got things you've got to pay for. Transportation is always an issue that we've got to look out for. Education, and so we were just trying to look at that, and we had a hearing or two to hear from the different agencies and experts about if a cut here, what happens there, and just kind of how the revenue looks, the forecast. And so I've been involved in that part about it. I have not involved in the drafting on the Senate side as of yet, but I know that that's going on, and I think I heard yesterday that they're getting pretty close, so I would expect to see something in the next week or so.
Okay. Well, we are scheduled to have Senator Josh Harkins. Of course, he chairs the Finance Committee. He's the tax man.
He is the man. Yes, sir.
He's coming on later on in the program, and I'm sure we'll break that down. So tell the folks about your background. You are a farmer,
yes,
right?
Yes. So I've been here before. I represent the cattle producers. I still work for them here in Mississippi, but I'm a cattle farmer. I was yesterday morning in 11-degree weather. I was on the side by side at 6:30 in the morning checking cows that were calving. So that's kind of my. I tell people I have night and weekend visitation of my cattle herd. I've got a daytime job with the Beef Council and the Cattle Association. Then I've also stepped into politics and was fortunate to represent our District 35 up here in the Senate. So it's a busy life, but I'm very fortunate to be able to do all the things that I do.
Yeah. Well, and I know you've been on the show before. You were elected to serve in the state Senate. We've talked about your advocacy and your responsibility there with the association. The lieutenant governor was on a couple of weeks ago. I'm not sure if you caught that interview, and he was talking about the challenges to our agricultural community and just getting financing to get their crops planted.
Well, agriculture is facing a huge challenge. Actually, this morning, the Ag Committee, which I'm vice chair of, we have a new committee chair with Neil Whaley from Marshall County. And all the turnover when Senator Branning left, he moved over to agriculture. So we had a hearing this morning, and we heard from a lot of experts about the condition of our farmers, and particularly our row crop farmers are struggling. The cost, their inputs are so high. They've had great yields, had favorable weather this past year, but the commodity prices are just not conducive with those input prices to make out a profit. Senator Hyde-Smith, Representative Kelly were instrumental in getting a bill passed right before Christmas, spending to give some relief to the farmers, but it's not enough. It's maybe a third to a quarter of what they need to come out even whole from last year. So what we know is that a lot of our ag lending institutions, are people that lend, not just the ag institutions, but those that lend to farmers, are going to struggle to provide the credit that these farmers need next year to plant another crop, because commodity prices just haven't changed, and the input prices continue to surge. And so, one of the slides this morning that I thought was particularly striking, we had an accountant that really kind of helps manage a lot of different farms, their books, and he did a sampling. He had a fairly large sampling size across Mississippi. And when he extrapolated the farms that he managed to the rest of the farms, it's somewhere around a $550 million loss in agriculture this year. And so we were sitting in that committee room, and it struck me that a year ago we were very excited, and still are, about the battery plant in Marshall County that we approved. That was a $2 billion investment in Mississippi. Well, here we are talking about a quarter of that lost in agriculture in 1 year. And so it's mildly concerning about that, and really across all agriculture. When you look at the input costs that are there, everything has just skyrocketed. Cattle may be the one thing that has kind of a shining star in terms of commodity prices right now, but it's been just the opposite of that for the last 10 years, and it's through the cycle. It'll cycle back to that sooner than later. We're all kind of on bated breath as to when the cattle market is going to fall with the rest of commodities. So farming, it's our largest industry here in Mississippi. Agriculture is our largest industry. So it's a concern of the legislature. And, that's one thing with these tax proposals out there that I worry about is, any unintended consequences to the rural part of the state, to the farmers of our state, to make sure that we're out there. And I haven't studied House Bill 1 enough to know how that could affect, and certainly haven't seen the Senate one yet. But that's a concern of mine. Is are we going to push property taxes up by doing something? Are we going to cause other input prices to go up through taxes or anything like that? Is something that we've got to be mindful for.
Sure. Yeah, I ran into Senator Whaley in the hall a couple of weeks ago, and this was like the day after I interviewed the lieutenant governor when he was sharing that information about the plight of our farming industry. And I said, I'm worried about the farmers. He was running real fast, as he always is in the hall. He says, we're working on something. So
we are. And we've got some sections pulled. We don't know what the answer is. We're going to probably have a hearing again next week and try to pull something together with that. We've got some time, I believe, to make something happen.
Gotcha.
But, it's concerning, and it's something that I think is flying under the radar that a lot of our population just doesn't understand of how vital our farm economy is. Totally. I use the example all the time. You drive through the Delta, and there's a lot of communities where a vibrant town used to be.
No doubt.
And now there's not, and that's because the farms have gotten bigger. They don't need a lot of these smaller mom-and-pop shops that they used to need. And so we want to make sure the rest of the state doesn't do that, and we keep our rural communities as healthy as possible.
Okay. Anything else you're working on?
That's the main focus right now. We're trying to a lot of my cities and counties need some help. I've got a couple constituent bills that were requested filed, but those are the big issues right now. Is trying to make sure our agricultural people stay healthy.
Got you. Senator Andy Berry represents District 35. Has been our guest. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks a lot. We're coming right back in the Element Wealth studio.